In this video, we're going to be looking at physical properties. Once you've identified a type of matter, whether it's an element, a compound, or a homogeneous or heterogeneous mixture, you need to be able to give some physical properties about that particular piece of matter. So a physical property is some type of a characteristic about the material. You can either observe it or something that you can measure about it. And these are things that don't change the composition of the substance. That's very important. Physical properties do not change the composition of your material. Some examples. We're going to go through some different types of physical properties. Viscosity is one of them. So you can see in the picture, viscosity is talking about the flow of the material. So this object is flowing very easily out of the test tube. The ones down here are pretty gunky. Thick. They are not flowing very easily. So the greater the viscosity is, the slower that the liquid moves. So these down in the end here would have a greater viscosity because they're obviously moving very slower. And when you heat a liquid, then the viscosity is going to decrease. So as you heat something that's very thick, it usually will flow faster, therefore the viscosity is going to go down. Another physical property would be the conductivity. In this picture is showing you some different types of materials. You have wood, metal, and then plastic, and they're sitting in hot water. Conductivity is just the ability for heat to flow through them, or electricity, heat or electricity. Metals are good conductors. If you've ever tried to put a metal spoon on the stove and you pick it up, it's obviously very hot, but wooden spoons, not the same. So metals do get warmer quicker than plastics or wood. That's normally why you see the things that you cook with, the pots and pans are metal, but yet the spoons and the things that you're using to hold on to the handle of the pot and pan, or the wooden spoon or whatever, are normally plastic or wood. Malleability is another physical property. This is when you can hammer on a solid and it's not going to shatter. So metals are very malleable. You can see in the picture, just even with their hands they can bend it. Sometimes you might have to use a machine to bend the metal. But if you tried that with a piece of glass, you would break it in half. So malleability is the ability of it to bend without shattering. And then there's the hardness level, and different chemicals have different hardness levels, and to compare the hardness of two materials, you would try to scratch one on the other, and the one that scratches is obviously the softer material. So we have like scratch plates that we can use, and you take the material and you scratch it onto the other material. And diamonds are the hardest known material that we have. Diamond cutters and things are very good for cutting. And yeah, so that's the hardness level. We also have melting and boiling points. I'm sure that you've just through cooking or whatever have probably seen things melt or seen things boil, but they have a certain temperature in which they do that, and it's consistent regardless of where it is. So the temperature where something is going to go from a solid to a liquid would be the melting point, and the boiling point is where it goes from a liquid to a gas. On our Celsius scale, these numbers are really easy to remember. It's 0 and 100. So at 0, water would start to melt as the temperature is going up, and at 100 degrees Celsius is when water boils. The last physical property is density, and this is the ratio of mass to volume. So when we do density calculations, we do have to divide. We have to take the mass and divide it by the volume. But the density is something that is unique to each element or each compound. You can find densities of things in tables on the internet or in books, and it's one way that we can tell an unknown substance by checking its density and then comparing it on one of those graphs or tables.